All right, so that one's cut. It's done. I got all the leaves off. I didn't trim. I didn't need it. And today's Friday, so I got a call this morning from LMS about the M5. That's how I woke up. It was way earlier than they ever call me, and that's how I knew shit was about to get screwed up. And boy, did it. We're gonna cut to the intro, and then I'll tell you more. Welcome back. So Jeremy called this morning. He's kind of taken Tom's place over there at LMS and said that they got everything down, the drive shaft, the exhaust, the fuel tank, everything's down and apart. And they found that my drive shaft U-joint has some play in it. Well, do you remember what I did a week ago? I sold the perfectly good drive shaft that I have had for the better part of 2 years to a guy in Florida, and I shipped it to Florida. You can't even write this shit. Like, how does that happen? I have a drive shaft that I didn't need, never thought I would need for 2 years, had my existing drive shaft out of the car when the motor was rebuilt. I asked Bill, it's like, how's this thing look? Should I consider replacing it anytime in the future, in the near future? And he looked at it, it was tight as hell. It's got some rust on it, but it's like, no, it's in balance and drives well, and there's no signs of play. So screw it, keep driving it. So we put it back in. Then today it comes out, and it's very slight. You put your hands on it and twist it, and you can just see it. But if my hands can do that, what can a S62 5-liter V8 that makes pretty substantial torque at every single RPM, what can that do to it? And the thing with play and wear like that is it's impossible for it to get better. Once it starts, it only worsens exponentially. So obviously there's no way to get my other drive shaft back. So new ones are over $1,000, refurbs are over $1,000. There's one used one online, it's like 800 something. So I go to Adam Savior in Maryland. He's got one for 200 bucks, 240 shipped quickly. From an 02 M5 with 84,000 miles on it, comes with CSB and a CV joint. So I ordered that. It's going to be here Monday, and I don't need the CV joint or the CSB. I've got nice new ones on there, so we're just going to transfer those over. He said that's no problem to move they're like 4,000 mile parts, so we're just going to move those over to the other drive shaft. And then we also found, he got the vent hose, the main vent line in, that runs from like the rear left wheel up towards the engine, probably 6 or 8 feet, the majority of the undercarriage. That one's replaced, but then the one that goes from the filter, the vent, not the feed, the vent from the filter area up into the engine bay, I don't know why it vents to the engine bay, but it does. That one looks like hell, so I ordered that. There's heat shielding that was screwed up and wasn't going to go back on right. I ordered those. I ordered the exhaust or the fuel line hangers, brackets, and grommets. Another $260, $240 worth of parts, like 15 different parts, 20 parts including fastening. 21, I think it was 21 parts. I don't even know. Like every time I try to do some job on this car, it comes back, oh yeah, so we got in there and it turns out we need another $3,000 in 3 weeks. You know, that's kind of the nature of a 20-year-old 200,000 mile car. But isn't there a point when I'm going to have replaced everything? Right? I mean, we're going to get to that point eventually. Every time I do this, I think, wow, that's got to be one of the last major components on the car. And it is, but the transmission's still original. But like genuinely, the transmission, the integral links and the front springs, that's it, right? I mean, is there anything, the rear wheel carriers, I've done the bearings and hubs, but the rear carriers are original. There's really not that much stuff left, so I don't have a choice. Get a new drive shaft, newer drive shaft. I'm not spending $1,000 for a piece of steel. That thing costs them maybe $50 to make in materials. And it's probably the same one the 540 used, I don't know. Same transmission, different differential though. So we're going to end up having replaced all of the vent hoses, all the little short pieces. I've done the regulator before, the pressure regulator and the filter fairly recently. The feed line to the engine's been done. Every single component of the fuel system, with the exception of the plastic fuel tank, everything else will be new. and I will never touch this fuel system again. The good news is the drive shaft's out anyways, so there's not going to be any additional labor. Maybe they charge me to move the CSB and CV joint over, but that is it. So I don't have to pay any additional labor. I did have to get the drive shaft for $240. And then I looked at, because the whole exhaust system's down, and I've had cat efficiency codes. First it was once a year and then once a month. That's every time I drive the car now, B2, B3 catalyst efficiency. So I looked into, it's down on the ground. There would be next to no labor if I were able to source a good pair of cats. I will not go aftermarket. Race cats are a joke, and everything else aftermarket's complete garbage. I've watched Jeff suffer with that too long to try it myself. OE cats are about $3,500 for a set. I think that's ridiculous. And Adam has none, so we have to stick with the cats. What is this?
This is a bucket of nuts.
What are we gonna do with it?
We are going to use them as ammunition in target practice against the back of the display. This is a tradition that Ryan and I
Have done twice.
We usually uphold it when we have displays like this, but the last couple haven't had huge flat backs like this one does. So we're gonna go get some tennis rackets and we're gonna go hurl these things.
It's a lot of nuts.
It is a lot of nuts. We're too close, but just to demonstrate why this is satisfying. That's oddly satisfying.
It's extremely satisfying. You guys got the car update. I will spare you of that. Razvan and Sabrina just left. It's 1:06. Megan's here. Kennan's on his way out, and it's the end of the day. Kennan, what did you do today?
What did I do today?
Yeah.
I ran, hung up with Luke. Excuse me. Jesus. I ran, hung up with Luke. God, I'm trying to talk. I'm talking here. I hung up with Luke, hung up with Ryan. We got dinner. Did I do anything in the M5? No, I went and I drove the M5 for a while, and then we came back here, hung out with Razvan and Sabrina. It's 2:30 a.m. I'm gonna go to bed now. And Megan is sleeping.
Z6 the M5.
Z6 the M5. You know, clean the leather again. Megan is sleepy. I watched the Cavs game. Cavs won.
Oh yeah, good one against the Bucks.
Very good second half.
Well, the Bucks put up a great fight tonight.
The Bucks put up a phenomenal fight. I was very impressed. But I was more impressed in how the Cavs performed as a team in the second half of the game, because that was quite impressive.
Oh, it was big.
Yeah, that's very important for us.
Another one tomorrow against the Orlando Magic.
Another one against the Magic.
It'll be magical.
I hypothesize, knock on wood, that it'll be a win against the Magic.
Hopefully.
I have a hunch it's going to be a sizable win too against the Magic, but we'll see. But we're going to go for a walk and get pizza tomorrow and sleep in, and that's the plan.
It's going to be great.
I'm going to go to bed and, dream about pristine leather. Oh man.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow on Saturday. Good night.